Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Wednesday, March 5th, and we are 1 week out from the start of the new league year. Got all kinds of stuff going on with some more players being released today. Got to keep an eye out for that. So Sam Hubbard, the Cincinnati Bengals, retired this morning after he was released. Still waiting on some of that from Steelers. Still waiting on also those tenders for the Steelers' exclusive rights and restricted free agents, which include running back Jalen Milroe, and I expect that to happen sometime this week. So stay tuned. Today, I want to talk about what I wrote about this morning at SteelersNow.com and what I teased yesterday on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with Smitty, and that's the curious case of Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe, who to me is one of the most fascinating players in this entire draft class. Jaylen Milroe has just alternatively risen and torpedoed his draft stock over and over and over again over the course of the pre-draft period. It's been fascinating. He if you go back to his redshirt junior year with Alabama last year, remember earlier in the year, they played Georgia, and Milroe was incredible. He looked like the best player in college football. He was the Heisman Trophy favorite. He had that long touchdown run. I think he had 4 touchdowns against LSU. Things are looking great. And then the end of the season, things start to fall apart. He's not completing passes. He's throwing too many interceptions. I think he had twice as many interceptions as touchdowns in SEC play. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. And then you go into the pre-draft process, and the very first thing is his hand measurement at the Senior Bowl, which comes in aggressively short, like almost as short as Kenny Pickett's. People are like, oh, never mind. Forget this guy. Then he goes out and has one of the best interview sessions I can remember for a quarterback in that setting. I thought he was smart and funny, affable, a guy you could really feel like you could build a franchise around. And then he went out there and threw terribly in practices in Mobile. I mean, just uncompetitive. What do you make of this guy? And then you go out at the combine. Oh, and never mind. Measured his hands, perfectly normal size hands, 9 3/8, right? Just, I mean, not big, but not average, honestly. So I don't know where that first measurement came from. We'll believe the combine. It's like the official measurement. Okay. And then he is talking to scouts and coaches and does well in his interviews again. And he told somebody this week he was going to run a 4.3 in the 40, but he didn't run the 40. And no one was really sure why. He could have been the fastest quarterback in the draft class. There are teams that are evaluating him only as a running back. He could have been the fastest player in the running back class. And instead, he decided to wait for the hand-timed 40 at his Pro Bowl in Alabama, which will be less accurate and harder to compare apples to apples. It just doesn't make any sense. Then he went out and threw at the combine and did better than he had at the Senior Bowl. What do you make of this? I think it's one of the most difficult evaluations in this class. I think he has a much higher floor than someone with his passing pedigree should suggest. Look, if you are looking at Jalen Milroe purely as a quarterback, ceiling is the roof, right? I mean, the ceiling is he has the arm strength, he has the athleticism to be Jaden Daniels, to be Lamar Jackson, to be every bit as good as those players. He's that good of an athlete, and he has the arm strength to do it. But his processing, his progressions, the way he feels pressure in the pocket, his touch on short passes, his anticipation, they're terrible. I mean, it's just not good at all. If you're evaluating him purely as a thrower, he's like a 6th-round pick. Like, I'd rather have Tyler Shuck, because wherever that is in your personal board, okay? But the athleticism, right? I mean, look at where the NFL is going at quarterbacks. Most of the best quarterbacks are also good athletes. Guys like Josh Allen, Jackson, Jaden Daniels, like they're all over, right? The rarer thing now is to have a Joe Burrow, who's mostly a pocket passer. So you're looking at very high ceiling, very high floor as a quarterback. But I talked to a team this week that is evaluating him only as a running back. They don't need a quarterback. And they have a 2nd-round grade on him as a running back. He's that athletic. He's that fast. He's that good of a ball carrier. So I think the running ability brings the floor back up to reasonable for him. Even if he cannot ever throw, he's like a way better version of Taysom Hill right away. Like, what's not to like about that? Taysom Hill is like 35 career touchdowns or something like that. Take that. For a guy that's being mocked in the second round. And I think that's why you're going to see Milroe taken when a lot of people are going to say, this guy can't throw, this is stupid, it's never going to work. And they might be right. And he may not need to throw to justify that draft stock. Now, let's spin it to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Could they take him in the second round? I think it's probably not likely. That's where they would likely have to take him to get him. And you look at all the needs, right? 2 holes a corner, smoking crater receiver, running back, D-line. It's not as much of a pressing need as it is a deep-seated desire to build up the defensive line. And I think I have a hard time seeing them getting to the second round and being like, yep, all that's checked off. Let's go quarterback. But maybe the board isn't very good for what they need. Maybe they went one way in free agency and then the other way is not available to them, right? They sign 2 wide receivers in free agency, draft a defensive lineman, and there's no corner. Okay. Like maybe that happens. Or maybe they think they can check 2 boxes here. Maybe they think they can get their running back and maybe he can play a little quarterback too. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. I don't think it's likely. I do think they're interested. I do think he is very interesting and something I'm going to be watching very closely through the rest of the pre-draft process. There's really nobody else the Steelers should be going to the Alabama Pro Day for. I mean, there are a couple other Alabama draftable players, but he's the one that would be like the big draw for them. So we'll see if they go. See if Mike Tomlin goes there. He usually does. That'll be interesting. That's all I got for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube platform so you don't miss an episode. Steelers Morning Rush, Steelers Afternoon Drive. Until next time, enjoy.